Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be giving you my Scorpio November 2017 horoscope forecast. And yes, this does apply and pertain to the Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. Well, anyway, people, first thing is, as far as November goes, the Sun will be in Scorpio from the 1st until the 22nd. So the first house will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So this is a time where Scorpio, generally very secretive and private and often like seclusion, might really like the spotlight a little bit more this time and really want to shine and stand out. It could be doing maybe Scorpio-like things such as something connected with the astrology, the occult, supernatural, doing something connected with major changes or transformations such as recycling, or just making a major change in their life just in general with the physical body, perhaps maybe through working out vigorously is one way. Now, the Sun will be in Sagittarius as far as November goes from the 22nd until the 30th. So the second house will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So there can be a strong focus perhaps connected with expansion and with money, really putting a lot of this exuberant and enthusiastic energy into generating income. It could be expanding one's horizons in terms of how one makes money, expanding possessions. It could be also being very upbeat and optimistic in connection with one's self-esteem. I mean, Sagittarius is very buoyant energy, and when you're talking about the house of self-esteem, this could be very positive. This could be a lot of exuberance and enthusiasm injected into maybe increasing one's self-worth and one's self-esteem. So anyway, the next thing is the full moon will be in Taurus on November 4th. So the 7th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. This could be perhaps, I call it the case of the stubborns, perhaps in a relationship, maybe a relationship that didn't, that stubbornly persisted for a while, maybe comes to an end, or Scorpio gets fed up with certain shenanigans of a relationship. It could be a very a lengthy and persistent court battle, maybe comes to a conclusion at this time. It could be something that maybe Scorpio collaborated on a certain project with someone else, or even a significant other, that required a lot of Taurus patience, perseverance, and persistence, comes to a conclusion at this time. So anyway, also the new moon will be in Scorpio, I believe, November 18th, and the first house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So for Scorpio, this could be a time perhaps where Scorpio might begin something maybe new in connection with transforming the physical body. It could be maybe a more provocative appearance, perhaps something maybe looking more sexy, doing something very deep in connection with their personality and maybe how that they project themselves perhaps to others. So this could also be a time too, you're talking about the new moon in Scorpio. This could be Scorpio embarking on something maybe something just Scorpio related. It could be something, I mean, you're talking about new. I mean, you're talking about, well, new being, as I stated before, something that could have a transforming effect on Scorpio's personality and maybe their appearance, such as I stated earlier, about working out vigorously, maybe taking on some regimented workout program in order to transform one's appearance, perhaps. And it could just be some new beginning connected with a Scorpio-like subject such as astrology, the occult, supernatural, alchemy, or magic, or something connected with investigations. And the new beginning that really affects how it really has such a strong impact on Scorpio and maybe their outlook. So anyway. Well, the next thing is, as far as November goes, Mercury will be in Scorpio from the 1st until the 5th. So this is a time where Scorpio might come across a little bit more loquacious, more communicative than usual, and maybe talking about really talking frequently about Scorpio related subjects such as astrology, the occult, supernatural, recycling, transformation, even matters connected with death. Talking and the communication might be a little bit caustic and maybe sarcastic even at this time, since we are talking about Scorpio energy. So, and remember too that the Mercury is also about short journeys. So the short journeys make these intense, there might be some intense short journeys that might take its toll really personally on Scorpio, such as the physical body, or for example, and I mean, and just really this, because there could be a lot more activity connected with running errands when you're talking about the first house and Mercury. So anyway, well, the next thing is, as far as November goes, Mercury will be in Sagittarius from the 5th until the 30th, and the second house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So Scorpio at this time might have a lot of more outspoken, blunt, and philosophical communications, perhaps regarding monetary matters. They might be thinking very optimistically about their money situation and expanding one's horizons on how to really increase maybe their worth and revenue. And also positive thinking really it could impact their self-esteem and how they feel in terms of their self-worth at this time. And the mind might be motivated strongly to increasing possessions and making money as well. So anyway, and also money might be made through some kind of communication, such as writing at this time. Writing things connected with philosophy, religion, or even sports could be a possibility. So anyway, the next thing is, well, as far as November goes, Venus will be in Libra from the 1st until the 7th, and the 12th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So keep in mind, 12th house could be about clandestine relationships. We're talking about the planet connected with that. So there is a slightly greater propensity toward clandestine relationships at this time. It could be with somebody that might be a Libra, or somebody that embodies Libra-like characteristics, such as being very charming, refined, cultured, very civil, very polite and diplomatic and peaceful. And it could be also too, I mean, it could be making money, getting your fair share, so to speak, and doing something 12th house like such as something connected with the metaphysical, such as astrology, or even photography, anything that could be a 12th house profession. So, and it could be doing enjoyment of art in seclusion and beauty, and maybe enjoyment of maybe things connected with legalities. It could be just watching shows that are associated with the law, so maybe shows about the law. So anyway, the next thing is, as far as November goes, Venus will be in Scorpio from the 7th until the 30th. And the first house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time, well, Scorpio may have a strong emphasis perhaps on looking more attractive. Being in Scorpio, this could be about looking more provocative, more sexy. It could be wearing darker clothes. It could be a very strong focus on that appearance. Doing maybe wearing clothes that are outwear that's mysterious, such as sunglasses. And also that given this could be that Scorpio might get a very strong interest more in art than usual, if not already interested in it. And it could be just paintings that might have some darkness to them, or drawings or what have you. And could also be expressing a very strong love for Scorpio-like subjects, such as the occult, the supernatural, astrology. It could even be matters connected with death, just trying to understand maybe some mysteries connected with that, forensics, investigation, things can, and this could be shown more on a first impression. So anyway, well, as far as November goes, Mars will still be in Libra, and the 12th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time for Scorpio, there might be some acrimonious and contentious situations going on behind the scenes. This could be, these could be arguments with people in your private life. Keep in mind that Mars being in Libra, this could be about passive aggressive energy. So it's not really so much really outward anger necessarily, and given that it's the 12th house, but it's also, what it is actually, it could be arguing and having contentious situations with people in your private life, but doing not having it in a real outward way. It could be just maybe avoiding people, or of the person or somebody wants you to do something, just not responding, or if you don't agree with something, changing the subject, things of that nature. And it could also be expressing maybe a lot of this energy and vitality in solitude, in seclusion, such as working out vigorously, doing maybe a balanced exercise program, so to speak. Could be too that, given we're talking about the 12th house, the vitality and energy might be a little bit more depleted and diminished than usual. So anyway, well, the next thing is Jupiter will be in Scorpio, and the first house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So Scorpio might come across during this time a little bit more ebullient, exuberant, enthusiastic than usual. Scorpio is often rather placid and somewhat stoic. They don't really, even though they could be intensely and deeply emotional, don't get me wrong, but they don't really show it that much. But you'll see a lot more happiness from Scorpio than usual. Scorpio can have a proclivity to be a little bit more bitter than at least most of the other signs. But I think when you have this could really elevate their spirits, and people can really see this. There might be some dark humor, so to speak, and it could be, jokes maybe that are very deep and might go over some people's heads, if you understand what I'm saying, in a figurative sense, and in ones that might have a little nuance or tinge of sarcasm. This could be a time too that, keep in mind that Jupiter is paradoxical, as I've stated a number of times in other videos, that, it's benign and benevolent. It could give a more benevolent, benign side to the person during this transit, but it also can expand and enlarge, and that includes the waistline, of course. So Scorpio, be careful, especially if you have a Scorpio Ascendant, and this is hitting your first house, and it's making a conjunction, especially to your first house cusp. Be very careful, because of course there is a greater propensity to put on weight at this time than usual. So anyway, Saturn will be in Sagittarius. So the second house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time for Scorpio, there may be some, maybe a little bit more restrictions and limitations in monetary situations than usual at this time. There might be, it could be that an older person that might be rather sagacious and wise might figure more prominently in one's finances at this time. And there might be, and the financial situation might cause a little more despondency than usual, but Scorpio might also feel more inundated with responsibilities toward their possessions and toward monetary matters at this time than usual. And keep in mind that the second house is also about our self-worth, our self-esteem, so that there might be some limitations connected with that, but I think the Jupiter in Scorpio can kind of help that, modify that a little bit, the fact that Jupiter will be in Scorpio sign, so that does factor in a little bit. So not all is lost when you're talking about Saturn and the second house in this case. So anyway, well, Uranus will still be in Aries, of course, and the sixth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time, Scorpio might be still going through some ongoing situations, perhaps maybe with some tumult and chaos in their unpredictable things going on in their work life, their daily routine, perhaps even their health. This could be a time where something unusual or enigmatic can affect Scorpio's health. Being Aries, it could be something that comes on very spontaneously and very quickly. And Uranus energy can be very extemporaneous anyway. So, and being an Aries could maybe something with the head or the face, or and this also, and it could be, you know, some accident that happens that causes some issue health-wise. This also could be too, keep in mind that Uranus also rules electricity, so just be a little bit more careful than usual, Scorpio, especially when you're doing things related to your work and your employment, and that if you're dealing with wires, especially, to make sure you're taking extra precautions at this time. And there might be more, and if Scorpio doesn't have any, you know, any pets in their home, like any small pets, they might have a little more unusual interest in this at this time, and it could be one or more of these creatures might be experiencing. Maybe, you know, let's say anything. Sometimes it could be unusual behavior. It could be, you know, maybe like genius level thinking for an animal. So, I mean, for pets. So those are some things to look at as far as that Uranus goes. So anyway, next thing is, well, Neptune will still be in Pisces, and the fifth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So given that, Scorpio may experience some delusion and deception in matters of the heart, in their love and their romance. It could be that maybe somebody in the romantic partner might be acting a little bit deceptive. Maybe there also can be, I mean, their love life might be a little bit nebulous and unclear at this time. And also there might be some self-deception in matters connected with gambling and speculation. That could be a possibility. Now, Neptune is also about drugs and alcohol and chemicals. So, I mean, the fifth house, it does govern children. So it's important to be careful this time, Scorpio, more, you know, than usual, because there could be a little greater propensity or proclivity for a child, if you do have any, to be involved in drugs and or alcohol, and even accidental chemical assimilations such as radon. So those are some things to look at as far as this goes. And Scorpio might take on maybe a Neptune-like hobby at this time, such as photography or working in chemistry, the metaphysical, which could include astrology. So anyway, the next thing is Pluto, still in Capricorn, of course, and the third house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time, I mean, sometimes, I mean, Pluto is really, I mean, unlike Saturn, Pluto can be about obliteration and destruction, while Saturn is more about restriction and limitation. I mean, Pluto may simply obliterate maybe a person's, their neighborhood. I don't mean by some kind of weather situation or literally obliterate the homes. I'm talking about there might wind up being some kind of move, for example, and maybe where Scorpio, where their neighborhood used to be, where their neighbors, or they may go to a different neighborhood, or maybe they have a number of people that were their neighbors in their own neighborhood might take off, and it might be starting over. Because remember, Pluto is about, I mean, it's often figurative death and obliteration, but it's also about rebirth. So it could be about getting new neighbors during this time, and maybe some transformation, maybe using this power of transformation in their communications, doing such as the power of positive thinking, transforming others' lives through their communication, which is a possibility. Scorpio is very powerful energy, and when you have Pluto and you're talking the third house to go along with the Scorpio person, that could be very strong energy when using in communication, I think. So also too, in some cases, most people don't want to hear the dreaded D word, but it is a little stronger possibility than average if the person has siblings, that one or more could die at this time. It's a little greater propensity for it because Pluto it is associated with death. And also, if applicable, well, I mean, most people do have neighbors, and even a death of a neighbor is possible at this, a little more possible than average at this time. And really, third house is also about our short journeys. So there might be, I mean, as far as this goes, well, Pluto, I don't think it would necessarily is going to destroy a person's ability to have short journeys at this time. But what it could be some maybe the short journeys maybe are somewhat obliterated in one area because maybe the person moves, for example, or or maybe there's just some kind of change in them, even in their own, even in Scorpio's own neighborhood. There might be, or maybe somehow maybe they meet somebody through taking these little short journeys, these short travels, where they somehow somebody that they meet through these journeys might have a powerful impact on their life. So anyway, well, the next thing is the North Node will still be in Leo, of course, and the 10th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time, well, Scorpio may, I mean, we're talking about the North Node is about our future and destiny, what we need to work towards. So this could be a time for Scorpio where they may be, where they're trying to get, or they need to get that attention and accolades and recognition for their career-related matters. And really about this is also about maybe really getting maybe a position of some kind of leadership in terms of their career. It could be doing something Leo-like, such as something in the entertainment field. It could be acting. It could be some other form of entertainment, like working the circus, for example, and just really, it could be working with children, doing something of a creative nature, working with something connected with amusement, such as an amusement park. Really, this too can be about a time where one might have to deal with maybe a domineering, maybe the dominant parent, which is often the father, which may be domineering. And because the North Node in transit is often about issues we have to confront. This could also be about issues connected with one's reputation and taking pride in it. So anyway, and also maybe showing that magnanimous Leo energy in matters related to the career. Doing so maybe with people that are involved in your career, doesn't necessarily have to be generosity connected with money, generous of one's time. So anyway, well, the next thing is, as far as November goes, the Black Moon Lilith will be in Sagittarius from the 1st until the 9th. So for Scorpio, the 2nd house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So during this time, something that might be, it could be some kind of compulsive spending issue might be unveiled. It might be tied in to some kind of gambling spree, or some kind of recklessness associated with money might be unveiled at this time. It could also be, in some cases, a very formidable adversary could be revealed, and it could be a Sagittarius, or it could be somebody that simply embodies Sagittarius-like characteristics, somebody that maybe is at the place where they generate their income. It could have been a person that might have figured strongly in maybe that this person's self-esteem, maybe for better or for worse. So anyway, the next thing is, well, as far as November goes, the Black Moon Lilith will be in Capricorn from the 9th until the 30th, and the 3rd house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. Now, this could be something at this time that could be revealed and unveiled for Scorpio that might be tied into their communications that they don't want out, or it could be tied into their thinking that maybe there's something, Scorpio might be going through some despondency or some kind of very depressive and negative type thinking that comes out and they didn't necessarily want to come out. This could be also where some kind of formidable adversary might come out, and it might be somebody that's either a Capricorn Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, or somebody that exhibits, or I should say, embodies those characteristics, somebody in their neighborhood. In some cases, it could be a sibling. If applicable, it could also be somebody that is involved in their day-to-day communications, or somebody they see regularly during their short journeys. So, I mean, this could also be something that maybe comes out in a communication that with somebody, or maybe they accidentally slip up about something in their communications. It might be tied in to some kind of unsavory business or unscrupulous business in some cases. And anyway, well, the next thing is, last but not least, Chiron will still be in Pisces, and the 5th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time, Scorpio might experience maybe some wounds and suffering that are associated with loved ones. It could be connected with duplicity, with deceit. It could even be involving children as well. In some cases, this can be tied into in alcohol and or drugs. This also could be, in some cases, maybe a loved one, somebody that they're having a romantic relationship with, or perhaps even a child might have some Pisces-like issues. Literally, that might need that might need to be tended to. I mean, there could be issues with the feet, for example, or the toes, or even the lymphatic system. So. And it could even be, as I stated before, about the drugs and the alcohol. It could be a possibility as well, or some accidental, inadvertent chemical assimilation. Also, keep in mind that Chiron is also, I mean, it's considered the wounded healer, so it also is about healing ability, and it could be where you're showing some healing ability toward children, toward somebody that you might be in a romantic relationship with that Pisces self-sacrificing ability, compassionate empathy. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for my Scorpio November 2017 horoscope forecast. Stay tuned next time, where I'll be giving you my Sagittarius November 2017 horoscope forecast. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.